I know I've never been like balling out of control or anything because in my adult life, I've never lived somewhere that didn't have a mouse for a period of time, right? And a mouse will humble you because a mouse, you'll be thinking you got it all together. You got it all figured out, everything. You know, you'll even be looking at your bank account and be like, wow, I'm killing it. I'm doing very well. And then in the distance past the laptop, you'll see a mouse scurry in the corner. You'll be like, I could do better. That's fair, right? But this is what bothers me, is that anytime you have a pest in the home, people act like it must be you. Like it has to be your fault, exactly. Expressly your fault, right? But it's like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm picking up after myself. I'm grabbing the clothes off the floor. I'm not leaving any food out. I'm vacuuming. I'm sweeping. There should not be a mouse in my... I'm not trying to have like a Disney Pixar experience, right? Like it's just... This happened, you know? And then, like, let's say, goodness forbid, but let's say you actually had a mouse problem, and then you went to work, and you told somebody, yeah, I got a mouse in my apartment trying to get it taken care of. Your coworker would be like, oh. You sure you should be here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you inviting them over or something. It's very frustrating, you know? Because, like, goodness forbid, once again, but let's say a different pest came in your home. Let's say a burglar broke in, right? And the next day you go to work and you tell someone, it's like, my home was burglarized last night. They would be like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. That's such a terrible thing. You must have been terrified. Are you okay? Is everything all right? They would show compassion. They'd have empathy. They wouldn't be like, ugh. I guess that's just how you were raised, huh? Like, do you see the difference? It's very frustrating because, like, I'll give you an example. When I lived in Chicago, right, I had a mouse in my apartment. I had lived there 2 years, no mouse, and I finally had a mouse in my apartment. Now, I lived in an apartment complex that was near some other ones, and a bit south of our apartment complex was a building that had been condemned for humans, but it was a mouse mansion, right? Like that's where they were. That was the spot, right? And everybody knew it. And eventually the city tore down the building and they took down this ratatouille tenement. And obviously the mice were like, where should we go? Probably next door, right? And so for the first time ever, right, I had a mouse in my apartment. But the way that I found out was horrible because I had a friend over. And so my friend and I are chilling, and then this mouse, he doesn't scurry along the wall and then turn the corner like they're supposed to, right? This mouse walks out in front of us, coming from what I can only assume was a nap. Because this mouse had the nerve to walk out and stretch on the rug, getting a deep stretch too, really bouncing with it as he moved. You know, like when your puppy wake up, you know what I'm talking about? And they put that other foot in the air, they really getting that whole back leg going. And the worst part about this happening in this moment is that when you tell your friend that, wow, I've lived here 2 years and I've never had a mouse, this is the first mouse I've ever seen, you sound like a liar, right? Because if this is the first mouse you've ever seen in this apartment, why does he seem so comfortable around you? Why is he stretching the back leg like he pays bills once in a while? Why is he getting so easy going, letting that back pop like he pays rent every once in a while? And so I was like, you know, clearly I gotta take care of it. So I called the landlord who calls the exterminator. And one of the frustrating things, I'm actually glad it went down this way. Because usually when you call an exterminator, that's when the pests in your home want to act right. As soon as you call the exterminator, that's when they're like, oh, you got company. I wouldn't dream. Oh, so landlord calls an exterminator. Exterminator comes the next day, right? I open the door for the exterminator. He takes about 2 steps in, and that's when the mouse that I saw yesterday runs past his foot, scurries along the wall, and then just turns the corner, right? But then my exterminator goes, ooh! And for the rest of the time he is in my home, he refuses to put his full foot on the floor. So he's just consistently walking around like, so how many you been seeing? Cause you know they say, oof. He was poking his head indoors where he would go in the room and stuff. And he was like, you know, they say that if you see one, if you see one, there's 3 of them. I'm like, that is you. We can't both be scared, dog. Like, oh, it's devastating. You know what I mean? Cause I'm not immune. You know, I've done the same thing. You know, sometimes, someone tell me they have a pest or something, but we gotta be more understanding. It's like nobody wants this in their home. But I had a friend one time back once again while I was living in Chicago, and he told me while we were out having lunch that he was having a bed bug problem. And when he said it, I was like, ooh. So how many you been seeing? And he was like, don't do that. You're not itching. I'm like, we don't know. We don't know. It's important to humble yourself. Understand that you could be in any situation. You really could. I don't care who you are in here. I don't care where you live, where you come from. Every single person, every one of you listening to me right now, all of us are 2 flies in the home away from seeming nasty. That's all it takes. 1 fly could happen to anybody, all right? 1 fly means you just opened a window. 2 flies... What do they see? What do they smell? What 2 flies means 1 fly went and got another fly. I was like, do I have a place for us? I was reading this story. You know how during Halloween, there's always this weird thing where they're like, don't just let anybody give your kid candy. There's people out here putting razor blades in apples, right? There's people out here putting drugs in the candy. Just really watch your child's candy, right? And you know how for the entirety of Halloween in America, that's been like a myth? Like that's just not a thing that's happening, Plus, if somebody give you an apple at Halloween, I'm never going to find out a razor blade is in it. This apple is going straight back to them through their window. If they get cut in the process, that's on them, And as far as, drugs in the candy, I mean, I don't know. Come on now. Even if that was happening, a child on drugs like acid is just the way a kid acts anyway. Yeah, I mean, little cousins I've had that have walked up and told me a story that I've only heard again from a college friend who was deeply on acid. Like, that's... Adults on acid and children just operate at the same frequency. You know what I mean? Telling you stories about animals that don't exist and stuff. It's like, all right. Extra hyper, yep, check. Most people who babysit like a 5 or 6 year old are dealing with the same sort of struggles as a drug crisis center. You know, over here running around, I can't find you half the time. You have a little bit of sugar, you can't stop shaking, you won't go to sleep. If anything, drugs might slow a child down. But I bring it up because in New Zealand, there were about 60 pieces of candy that were donated to this food bank, so it did go out via the food bank, and the pieces of candy were meth, right? And they were just like meth, and they were like pure meth. Like it was like the methy Jolly Ranchers meth. Like I can't express enough how much this was just meth, right? And they said that, they've been doing everything they can to recover all the pieces. They put out a warning and everything. And the company, they've contacted the company that it was wrapped in as a hard candy of and stuff. But most of the people that tried this meth hard candy spit it out immediately because they were like, it's just nasty. It's just real bitter. It doesn't have the oomph to it, right? Like, if anything, it's too pure. There's not enough sugar in which is for the best. That's good, because apparently this little hard candy of meth had 300 doses of meth in it, which is terrifying, right? I'm glad that it was very nasty. People spit it out immediately and stuff. And what's crazy is that, okay, this is a part of the story that I wasn't fully sure if I was reading it right when I read it, but basically some people who had some sort of like adverse effects, like feeling a little nauseous or a little like jittery, because it's meth candy, so they were feeling a little jittery after they had a taste, even though they spit it out, 300 doses and a little hard candy, right? But they called the food bank and told them like, hey, some of that candy making me feel weird, right? So then some of the staff at the food bank also tried the candy. Which feels like a weird way to test for drugs, you know what I mean? Feels like, I don't know, these hard candies might be, they might be like condensed mushrooms. It's like, well, only one way to find out. And then the staff also spit out the candy immediately because it just, I can't imagine meth is delicious. And they said that they exhibited some adverse effects, feeling a little, little stomach ache, little jittery, little disoriented and stuff. And so they're trying to get to the bottom of it. But I don't know. It low-key feels like the candy company was just kind of trying it out. You know what I mean? Like just to be like, we got to do something, all right? We're falling behind Starburst. We're falling behind Nerds. We can't keep up. We got to mix it up a little bit. Whether I'm like reading reviews of things or just like falling down different rabbit holes online, it is apparent that we have a deep problem, everybody, with like oversharing online. I know so much about people that I'll never meet. That feels crazy. You know what I mean? And it's to our detriment, Like that's us. Like we're going to have to explain to our grandkids what Twitter was. When we're like grandparents, we're going to have to sit our kids down and be like, yeah, when I was coming up, there were people who would just tell everybody what they thought without anyone asking. And ruin their own life. You know what I mean? They would just wake up and be like, I don't need a job today. And then they would just admit things that they could have kept in their head. You know? Because you watch a lot of it happen, especially like when somebody, because it could happen to anybody. When anybody's like just going through the internet backlash of a day. Maybe you said something, maybe you did something, maybe you were caught on camera somewhere or something like that. And then even when a person tries to defend themselves, it's too far gone. And then even if you do a good job of defending yourself, and even if the thing isn't what people thought it was, that never rises to the level of the initial thing, right? And so, it just feels like a lot of unforced errors in life when people do this stuff, and they're still doing it. Sometimes I still see people post a thing and I'm like, you could have told no one. That's wild. Why would you do? Everyone's mad now. No, I just wish we could bring back diaries. Remember diaries? Remember journals? Remember when you were like a kid and you would just write in that? And it would be your deepest, darkest, most personal secrets. All of your like internal thoughts, your whole internal monologue would be put on paper somewhere. And then you put it under the bed. And it was a violation. It was the deepest violation if your parents read your diary or read your journal or something like that. Because those ideas, those thoughts were truly private. Like you had to work them out of yourself and you had to put them somewhere. But they were for safekeeping for just you, right? And so they'd be under the bed, wherever, and then finally, years after you write that stuff, right? You're maybe about to go to college, or you're just moving out the house or something. You flipping the mattress for the first time in 4 years, and you see, no, my journal. Oh my gosh! And then you look through some of the pages, you read a little bit of it, and you go, oof. Who is this? Oh, no. Oh, I'm glad that's nowhere else. Because now I can burn it. And no one will ever know. I remember I found one of my journals from when I was a kid, and I was like, oof. This is pretty horny and racist. Man, I don't know what I was on. This is wild. I gotta throw this through the shredder now. No. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I'm trying to just navigate things. Like I do my best to be a good person. I'm sure everybody is to a certain degree, even if it doesn't feel like it, But like, I don't know, man. I'm like liberal, but my friends are like liberal. Like I'm liberal as in like we believe all the same stuff. Like if you go down the list, I'm like, yeah, that. Yeah, me too. I do as well, right? So we believe the same stuff, but when they say it, they just, they say it all slow and touching their chest and stuff. It's like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like, you'll be like, no, I believe that a woman should have autonomy over her body, right? And then they'll be like, I believe. That a woman? Should have autonomy over her own body. I'm like, yeah, you said it slower. Like I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I don't know what some of that is. Sometimes I don't know if that's just like them trying to impress somebody. Because the person I'm talking about is a dude. Like, I'm like, there's no way you feel it this hard, bro. Like, that's suspicious as hell. It really is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird when something is like, and don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way. Just listen, hear me out. It's wild when something that you want to fight for and help someone fight for, right? But it's not your direct, like in the moment, your direct body or problem, and you're madder than them. That's suspicious. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you meet a white person, they're like, you know what really gets me? Segregation. Based off of how you said that, there's no way that's true. There's no way. I don't believe you for a second, right? Because I get into weird arguments with my like liberal friends because we literally believe the same things, but then they take it a step further than feels logical to me, right? But we would still like vote the same way and do the same. We would still be at the same rally. But they just stomping harder, like that's gonna do something. I'm like, like I had an argument with one of my friends, where, you know, he was talking. I don't like when sometimes academics will pull a thing that works in theory and it works in like academia, but it doesn't work in practical life, right? So I was having this argument with my friend where, you know, he was basically saying that black people can't be racist because racism is prejudice plus power, right? And I was like, that's, don't do that. Because a part of me gets what he was trying to say. A part of him was saying, like, look, anybody can be prejudiced, and prejudice is hate and stuff like that, but black people systematically have not had the power to exert their hate over other people, right? And so until then, you know, black people can't be racist, right? And I was like, but part of what you're saying is true, but when you say it out of your mouth, you make the whole thing sound wrong. You know? And so now I'm arguing with my friend, and it's even weirder because he's white. He's white, and he's a man. He's the man from the abortion example. Like this is the same person. He's a white dude that gets real mad about abortion and thinks that I can't be right. So then I get in an argument with my friend. We're at a Denny's, by the way. I get in an argument with my friend that black people we can be racist. Don't. Now I'm yelling in a Denny's at my white friend about how racist I am. But the point I was trying to make was like, look, I see what you're saying, and historically, I get that if you're making this example for like a different time, right? But when you say power, do you mean power of the individual or power of the group, right? Because individually, there are very powerful black people that could exert their power over other people, right? But if you're talking about power of the group, then yeah, maybe we'll never get there. I'm just saying, like, power of the group, I don't see an all-black Senate happening anytime soon. You know? But still, I was like, you realize, we both acknowledge that, like, prejudice is bad and hate is bad, and so that is the thing that people mean when they say racism. You're getting into this, like, weird argument around the word that's distracting from the thing that actually bothers people. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? So then I'm now having to give examples of me being racist to prove my point. We're still in the Denny's. They won't bring the check because I think they're worried about me, right? So then they won't. Because I'm being too loud. I'm being too loud. And so then I'm like, no, I can be and have been racist. And I have to take account of when it happens. I take accountability for like both my thoughts and my actions, what I say to people, because we're all people. We're all trying to find a base level of like understanding and kindness towards each other. So then I have to take accountability for when I do make someone feel bad, right? And whether that thing is whatever, justified in the moment because of how they were reacting to me or completely unjustified based off a preconceived notion. I have to take stock of this. I have to take responsibility for myself. It doesn't matter that there are other disenfranchised people out there. I can't scapegoat them to act however I want to act, right? So then I was giving an example of me being racist. Okay. I'm not saying this is right. It's just how I am. And I'm trying to change. Remember that. But I look at my white friend. Okay. I feel when I see my white friends struggle in the sun, I don't really care. Like, that is racist though, because it's an entire group where I'm like, then do better. Like, it's like, that's not right. That's not right. You know what I mean? But I look at white people struggling in the sun the way I imagine, not calling anybody out, but it's the way I imagine they look at black people when we like can't get along, right? It's like, it's not really my problem, is it? Do better, I guess. You know? No, it's tough, because it's like, I don't know, I'm liberal, but I'm not like liberal. Like, still working some stuff out, you know? I'm just not as strong as I'd like to be. You know what I mean? Like, there have definitely been things that needed to be picked up. But how about this? Very few people in my life have ever asked me to help them move. That's how you know you come off a little anemic to your friends. You know what I mean? Because I actually have anemia. But like, my thing is, if you're in the throes of like being your absolute strong, maybe I've watched too many movies, but I've just want to have like one period in my life where like I walk past stuff and I think about picking it up without the injury that might occur. You know what I mean? There have been people, okay, as an example, I try to be helpful, right? And I was in New York, and I was I was on a subway, and I was getting up the stairs. I had already got off the train, right? And on the second, there were 3 rows of stairs, right? And on the second row of stairs was a young mom who had a stroller with a baby in it, right? So then I'm like, okay, she already got up the first one. I'm not just going to assume that she needs help. But the fact that she's doing it by herself and the stroller is hitting every step, she's shaking the baby. Like, that's undeniable. Just bow, 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 right? And so then I'm walking up, and she looks like she's really contemplating how to do the second and third set of stairs, because I think she must also felt like that was a lot of shaking, right? And so then I walk up and I'm like, hey, would you like a little help up? And then she was like, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then I actually go down a couple stairs, you know, so I can like protect my back, lift with my legs and everything, and keep the baby at the right trajectory, because now the baby's still going to be at an angle. He's not going to be like this, and then... So then I grab the bottom of the stroller, and I go to pick it up, and I put in the effort, but the baby doesn't move. And... I cannot tell if the stroller is made of titanium or if this baby is secretly 12. Like, because this is what's so embarrassing about what's happening right now, is that I have two people, one of which doesn't have object permanence yet, but two people who know exactly what's going on. They know that I've now offered to help and I cannot help. Because as I'm really, like, did you ever see The Sword and the Stone? It was... Because my hams and my quads are wiggling. And so I've got the wiggle going. So I know I'm putting in the effort, right? And I even readjusted and put my foot on a different step. Because I was like, that's a bad step. I don't like that step. That's what it is. That step was too low. It wasn't doing my legs any justice. Let me get up another step. So then I put, but this is a worse position to be in, right? So now I'm lower. And now I'm wiggling. But the thing, okay, so I'm wiggling so hard, and then I look up a little bit, and the baby is like, and I never thought that being judged by a baby would help me access more glute use than I ever thought possible, because then I look up and the mom is also like, and so then I look past them because they are not helping me right now, and I finally lift it up a little bit, and I get maybe knee height, right? Which this is not comfortable to go upstairs with weight, okay? But I start pushing, and I get up one step, and get up another step. And I cannot believe that this mom did this by herself, because I'm like, this is with help. And so sure enough, climbing up, and maybe a quarter of the way on the second set of steps, I start to feel a pain. I shouldn't say a pain. I start to feel three pains. One was in my back, one was in my quad, and one was in my hamstring. And other people are passing us, because I wasn't the only one that got off the subway. And as we're passing by, this other guy was passing by, much bigger dude, but he was like, "Do y'all need help?" Which is devastating. You ever been a good Samaritan and needed a good Samaritan? It was terrible. So then I'm turning to him to be like, I'm about to answer, and then the mom is like, "Yes." And so then this dude with one hand moves my hand and starts to take up some of the slack, right? And in my head, I'm like, all right, it's going to be the three of us together. And okay, all right. So this dude moves this hand with this hand, moves it out of the way, and so now I'm just pinching both my hands on this other part, but he really is keeping it level in a way that's devastating. And then he was like, it brightens my day to help out a young, beautiful couple like y'all. Which means that as he was walking up the steps and got level with me, he was sure I couldn't carry my own son. And so I'm holding this one, And he's holding this one with one hand, right? Other hand in his pocket. He chilling. And then almost immediately, this young Bob says, "Oh, we're not together." And in my head, I'm like, you couldn't fake. You couldn't save me the embarrassment for 17 more steps. We don't know this man. I don't know you. We're not together. And so then he goes, "Ooh, oh, okay. Well, we all try to make things work the best way possible." Now he thinks I am an absent father that isn't able to carry my own son. And so then she's like, "No, I don't know him." I was like, "You really had to throw me under the bus right now. You couldn't just pretend to know me for 15 more steps." And then he goes, "Oh." And now he knows that I'm a stranger that can't pick up his not son. And I try to help people and everything, but this is too embarrassing. So after about the fourth step, I was like, "Hey, I'm late." "Do you think you could?" And then he was like, "Oh yeah." And then he, both hands, and I walked up the stairs by myself and then ran. When I got to the top, I did not want to be seen again. That was terrible. How are you we not together? No, I don't know him. How are you? I was trying to be helpful. But I was hurt, like my pride was hurt. And so then I went home and got online and Googled the weight of that stroller, because I was like, this thing has got to be like at least 100 pounds or something. Try and make myself feel better. Turns out it was all baby. That stroller is 8 pounds. I'm surprised it was holding the kid up. I was watching the news, because at first I saw it on the news and then it spilled over to social, so I was watching a lot of it. I saw where Tyreek Hill got stopped by the police, right? And I don't think he got arrested. I mean, he got detained for a bit, but he still made it to the game and did quite well. But the whole thing was pretty wild, and I made sure to watch like everything that got released, like the full body cam footage and everything, because I saw just so many people arguing about it online, right? And in case you didn't see it, basically Tyreek Hill, who's a football player, right? He is he's driving and gets pulled over, right? And anytime I'm on Twitter and I see like a video of a black dude getting pulled over, I'm like, well, it was a good day. I don't know what I'm about to see. And so, you see the body cam footage of the cop walking up after they pulled him over to Tyreek's window. And Tyreek is sitting there in the car and everything, and then the cop knocks on the window, and then Tyreek lowers his window, looks at the cop and goes, "Don't knock on my window like that," and then rolls the window back up. And as an African American audience member, I was like, uh-oh. And you can tell, even the cop, you can't see his face because it's his body cam, but you can tell he's like, what? What just happened? So then he knocks on the window again, and he's like, yo, keep the window down. And he's like, don't knock on my window like that, right? Don't knock on my window like that. And they just go back and forth. He's like, keep the window down. Don't knock on my window like that. Keep the window down. Don't knock on my window like that. Now, to be fair, by now the window is just down. Like he's just... It's kind of like one of those things where you arguing with somebody, but they are doing the thing you asked them to do, but you still mad, so then you're like, and keep doing it. You just don't know what to say next. You're like, and stay doing it. And so then, he hands him his license and registration, and then he rolls the window back up. And like, look. Look. Rolling the window up on anybody. I've never seen a respectful rolling of the window up, right? Like when I've been out and I've been in situations and I roll the window up, it's very clear what I mean, right? I remember one time I was with my friend Mike in Chicago, and he was giving me a ride home from a show, and there was this one dude that was in the street, middle of the street, and we had a pretty clear, we were in Chicago, and so we're going down like that Argyle area and everything, and we have a pretty clear street because it's so late at night, right? And it's it's like maybe 2:30 in the morning because I had a late show and I stayed to talk with people and stuff like that. And Mike is giving me this ride back, and we've got the windows down and everything. But then we're at a red light, and we see a red light away. This guy who's been in the street, and we could tell from the distance, is just running in the street, no shirt on, everything. And then Mike just goes, let me roll up my window because this nigga is making me nervous. Rolling up the window is not both like a power move. Sometimes it's also a move of like, I really don't want to look at you right now. And so the cop knocks on the window again. He's like, hey, keep the window down. And then Tyreek is like, yo, just give me my ticket so I can go, right? And as an African-American audience member, I was like, oh. And so then cop tells him one more time, he's like, yo, keep the window down before I take you out of the car. Matter of fact, get out of the car, right? So he just immediately decides like, no, open the door before I break the window, open the door, right? And so then Tyreek is like, okay, damn, all right. So he unlocks the door, and then they pull the door open, and they start pulling Tyreek out. He's like, okay, I'm getting down, damn, right? And now they're pushing him down and everything. And he's like, hey, careful. I just had surgery on my knee. And they're telling him. And then the guy, the same cop as before, is like, oh, that's convenient. You didn't have surgery on your knee in the car when you couldn't keep the window up. And I was like, that's not how knees work. And so they got Tyreek down flat on the ground. I can't remember if they handcuffed him or they zip tied him or they just had him with his hands right here. And you gotta keep in mind that this is all for like some speeding. Like if you're speeding and they catch you, they just arrest you because you're speeding that much, Like if you're going the speed of the temperature in Arizona, you're just... you're just going to jail. But all of this happens, speeding a little bit, right? And then, he's on the ground, hands down, everything. He's trying to call someone to let them know that he's gonna be late, which is courteous. And then, I don't know when in the sequence this happened, because then this is from a different angle, but I watched something that was fully put together, right? So I don't know if this one was on police body cam, but this was just like a part of the footage, and then, Tyreek said something along the lines of like, yeah, another black man trying to drive in America, right? And then the same cop as before says like, oh, I'm Cuban, don't play that shit with me, right? Which isn't quite, like I see where he was trying to get, but no. The 2 points kind of miss each other, right? And then, you know, there was another player who had stopped his car and got out just to see what was happening because he saw Tyreek's car, Tyreek on the ground and everything. And so then he's trying to call somebody, and Tyreek is telling him like, yo, call whoever. I don't know if it's like the GM or I don't know who he wants him to call, but he keeps saying the same name. So then that guy goes, okay. But then the cop sees that guy and goes, yo, you can't stop there. Get back in your car. You can't stop there. Get back in your car right now. He's like, okay, I'm getting back in my car. I was just trying to see what's happening. Don't worry about what's happening. Get back in your car right now. Drive off, right? And he's like, okay, and even as he's moving towards his car, the cop was like, you know what? You too. And then takes him. And it did get to the point where I was like, are they going to arrest the city? Because I'm not going to lie. When you drive by, you get curious. You're like, whew. You know, maybe you're in your car and you drive by a little slow. You're like, is that Tyreek Hill? And the cop's like, you can get some too. Like, you know? But it just got me to thinking, like, what, all of this, and our expectation, the fact that we expected it to be worse than it was, you know? Because I want to be clear about something. Tyreek Hill was, if you watch the tape, he was being an asshole because he thought he could get away with it, right? He thought he had enough money. He thought he had enough, like, access or proximity to maybe how his white friends move, you know? That he thought he could be an asshole and get away with it. And I want to be clear, the cops in that situation were also being assholes because they thought they could get away with it. But only one of those two parties was at work. Do you know what I mean? Everybody has a bad day. Everybody can't be perfect, and some people are assholes through and through, right? But being an asshole isn't illegal. One of those parties has a gun, has the ability to kill, has the power to move people where they want them to go, you know? And it's a terrifying thing because my thing is like, take race out of it for a second, right? The way that the police are allowed to move is what creates the expectation. It just happens to get to a certain place with black people more often than not. But it's the way that we're all police and the thing that we all allow as long as it's happening to somebody else that keeps the system intact. You know? And so I've watched the police do all manner of things in different videos of different people, right? But there's a certain place we let it get to in our minds where we just accept that, like, oh man, you disrespected a cop, you about to get your ass beat. Why is that? Do you know what I mean? Why is that? Because I'm not trying to make it as if race isn't an actual issue in it. It's like inextricably linked to it. But at the same time, trust me when I say anybody can get it. I've watched so many videos of people, kids, you know? And it's because of the way that we let police move and also what we ask police to do, right? There should just be a scanner. If you're speeding, we'll catch you. And I don't have to talk to the dude with the gun. That would be nice. That would be so much better to just, I was speeding, you got me, that's my bad, I was speeding, and now I don't get tapped on the window by a dude that I know is armed that's not having a great day. You know? Because I've even watched, like you wouldn't believe, you know, I've watched my white friends move around the police in a way that I could never imagine, right? But I've also watched them there's a weird leveling off that happens when it comes to policing, where sometimes white people get loud or get violent with the police, and the police go, I'm white too, so like, let's nix that now. You gotta get your ass beat today. You know? And I've also seen black police tuning up black kids, right? But it's also the expectation that we have of police and the way that we allow them to move that like leads to situations like this. You know what I mean? It's terrifying to be pulled over by the police, just in my view, as a black person. Not even because I'm like, man, this cop's definitely gonna be racist. It's more just what can happen and what they can get away with that's terrifying. And I know that we're not all feeling the same way, but in my opinion, we should all be terrified. Because everything's well and good until it happens to you. And trust me when I tell you it can happen to you. In college, I had a friend who was getting a little drunk, right? He was pretty drunk. And, you know, he got loud with a cop. And I was trying to, you know, dissuade him. But I was doing it from a distance, like a coach. You know what I mean? Like I was... You know, I was like, hey, I know you white, but you gonna get tased. I'm telling you. The way you moving right now is taser behavior, okay? That white skin can only protect you for so long. You about to get that ass beat, I'm telling you. I've seen too many videos of people doing what you do, and they never end well. And they didn't tase them, but let's just say I did eventually have to yell out, I'll see you back at the door. I don't want these problems. I've been watching the newest season of Love is Blind with my girl. This is the thing about that show, right? I think the show is, in theory, a good idea, right? What if by chance we got out of our own way, right? Because most of dating is swipes now. Like a good portion of how people meet is dwarfed. Online dwarfs every other version of meeting, like meeting at a bar, meeting at work, all that stuff like that. Meeting online is way, way bigger. So a big part of how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when it comes to dating is completely and totally dictated by bots. I know we don't think it's bots, but it is. Like, most of these platforms are flooded with bots because if they can keep you on the platform, they keep your money, right? So better to have a couple bots entertain you and waste your time for a little bit so you think that something's going somewhere while maybe you work it out with a real person or maybe not. But either way, we've got your money. It's like a gym membership, right? You ever try to cancel a gym membership? I remember I had a gym membership. That's one of the few things that seems obscure that like Biden was trying to get on that I was really excited about. Because the Biden administration was basically like, anything that took your credit card for you to start the membership should be just as easy to get out of, just as easy to opt out of, right? Because there are some things that aren't. There were a lot of gyms back in the day where you could go up there and sign up that day, all right? And then be like, okay, I'm a member of this gym and I'll buy 5 months outright because you're doing 2 months free or whatever. So I'll be a member for 7 months. That's most of the year. I gotta get sexy by then. And so you do this like 5-month fee, and maybe you do it in one lump sum, or maybe they keep charging your card every month at some discount or whatever. But then at month 6, you're like, it's not working. I keep coming once a week and pushing 3 things, and nothing is changing. I don't think I'm gonna get sexy on the right timeline. And I don't wanna be a member of this gym for 40 years, so you know what? I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And so then you go there, and this happened to me. You go to the gym, and you're like, I would like to cancel my membership. And at first they try to fight you. First they're like, no, you were just getting sexy, dog. We all noticed it. There was one day we were changing the towels. We were like, damn, I remember when he came in January. It's March. What a difference. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I don't feel very sexy. And the scale says I weigh the same. So I'd like to cancel my membership. And they're like, dang, dog, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, we love having you around and everything. And like, you know, it's just your presence lights this place up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see you, dog. We see you when you struggling, when you struggling to do that, like clean and snatch. You know what I mean? When you got the bar here and you trying to, Whenever you're doing this, we laugh. It's such a great day. We gonna miss you, man. You sure you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta end my membership. And they're like, okay. All right. Well, it's a shame because you can't end your membership here. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is where I came to start my membership. This is where I exercised my membership. How can I not end my membership? No, there's a whole process and everything, you know. So basically, you gotta write a letter saying like how you're not sexy and stuff, and then you gotta mail that letter. Okay, you gotta mail that letter to our headquarters. Our headquarters will then let us know. And also, you can't just mail it to the headquarters. You also have to call in and be like, guys, I don't want to be sexy anymore. And then you have to call before your letter gets to the headquarters, because if it gets there first, it sort of invalidates your call. So you have to make sure you call, and it's best to call while the person at HR at headquarters is holding your letter. I know you won't have any idea when that is, but try. Just call a lot, call consistently until maybe you call and they're holding it and they're like, oh, is this you? Yes, it's me. I would like to never be sexy. And so then what they'll do is they'll call us, and we still won't cancel it. We'll just know that you're a quitter. And so then after they call us, we will call the department, which is a third party that actually handles our memberships, and tell them to take you off of the mailing list, just the mailing list. But eventually, once you've been off the mailing list for long enough, we'll stop charging your card. This seems like it should be illegal. Because it's a process that sounds like it's going to take years. There was such a long process, and then they said I was no longer a member. I had stopped going, and then I saw where they still charged me. I called them, and that called them at the gym, and they were like, no, you got to call headquarters. So I called headquarters, and I waited, and you know, then someone finally got on the line being like, hey, I was about to take my break. Because the whole plan there is just to frustrate you so much so that you end up keeping it. Because what they want you to do is to like still have it, and it's so hard to get rid of that eventually you go one day, and as soon as you go, you've basically like renewed your membership and everything. They just want any way possible to squeeze as much money out of the people that are going, right? And so that's one of the things that Biden was like, oh, we gotta stop this, you gotta make it like clickable. You know what I mean? You gotta make it just so that, did you click to start the membership? You should click to end the membership. It's like, wow, what a novel concept. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of thinking that comes from a man who doesn't have a lot of time to mess around. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, let's get right to it, you know? But that's what the dating platforms do. They just don't want you to cancel, right? And they've come up with tiers. They've come up with little systems to get extra money out of you. Super swipes, double super swipes, thirst trap swipe. All these little ways that maybe you can like find someone. And even when you find someone, you're not finding someone. You're just allowed to start a conversation now, you know? And so what if we got out of our own way? What if that really happened? Where people who genuinely wanted to find someone and didn't want to have any barriers on them, any sort of expectations or even some of their own preferences, right? Just wanted to get to know a person just as they are, right? We're just going to talk. And what if we talked for so long, so many times, that we covered the amount of talking that it usually takes people in the real world months to cover? Because you know what it's like. You go on that first date. That first date is all surface level, if it's even true. You know? It's like I try to be myself. I want everybody to feel comfortable being themselves. But as long as we're lying, we're lying. You know what I mean? If you're going to lie, I got to lie. I can't just show up being vulnerable and then you lie and then I look like a monster. So yeah, if you're gonna lie, then I gotta lie, you know? You're gonna lie about the degree you have, I gotta lie about having a job. I just gotta make sure that we fit each other's, you know, each other's lies. And then you get to the truth. And sometimes truth is very disappointing, because sometimes, whether it's your fault or of no fault of your own, you've built up an idea of who a person is, and that idea of who they are sometimes trumps the person that you see in front of you. So then you see the real person after when you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? One of the things the police used to do back when everybody was writing checks and check fraud was like this big thing, because people like con artists would get really talented at copying somebody's signature. When they thought that somebody might be one of these people, what they would do is they'd have them write something, but they wouldn't just have them write it once, because you could pretend to be someone else one time, 2 times, 3 times. They would have somebody, almost like when you got punished in school, they had to write the thing 50 times. And over time, you could see whether the person was bored or they just started getting in their head. Eventually, their true handwriting would show. You know? And that's what we do when we get to know a person. After 3 months, you're like, look. There's a lot I didn't tell you about because I want you to stay. You ever been dating somebody and then 2 months and you're like, who is this person? It's like, no, this person is the person. I don't know. Sorry, you aren't dating who you thought. You know? And so then you get all this talking. You get all this like genuine quality time together, right? And I like this person. And so maybe this is my person, right? And how long would it take if all we did was talk, if all we did was really get to know each other? How long would it really take for us to fall in love with a person? Probably as long as production allows, you know what I mean? But like, but still, you see these people on this show, and within 9 days of being on the show and being in the pods, they're talking about I love you to this person that they've never seen, that they've never met, but they've talked so much. And a part of you thinks, this person's dumb, this person's crazy. I don't think they are. I think if you got to do a deep dive into a person, you could find whether or not you like really loved everything about this person, how their mind works, their sense of humor, all the little push and pull that the relationship has, you know? And then they do the reveal, which is usually where things go awry. Because it's hard to get out of your own way, and it's hard to change your nature, especially in 9 days, right? And so then sometimes they do this reveal. If you never watched the show, they're in the pods, and they chat, and they chat, and they chat, and then people are picking each other as they're chatting. And you're really picking off a personality. You don't know what this person is like, you know? Sometimes you're watching the show, and you're like, these two look like they would go together in the real world, and they're not picking each other now. That's so interesting, right? Then they do the reveal. The reveal is like They're across a hallway with this carpet and the doors open and they see each other for the first time. And, you know, a lot of times it goes great. They get really excited. Oh, I happen to be in love with a person who happens to be beautiful. What a bonus. And then sometimes you can tell, you can see it on the person that they're like, ooh. I am not blind. Because you gotta understand, whether you've watched the show or not, it must be a lot. It must be a lot to like have someone talking to you the way that they talk to each other. They are talking to each other the way that we imagine our great-grandparents talk to each other. Like before devices got involved, right? When you really had to miss someone and you really got to know them and you didn't even know that many people. You know? Your great-great-grandparents might have only known 200 people in life. And they pick one of those people, so you're not even doing the same comparison stuff we do. We're spoiled for choice, or at least the illusion of choice. Because we're like, no, I could get anybody. It's what you think, because then you match with them and you're like, damn, okay. You know? And it's tough, because dudes are the ones that fall for bots the most. We really are. Like, we get botted hard. Our friends will tell us it's a bot, and we'll be like, maybe. Maybe. Or maybe she's just into me. Maybe y'all just can't handle it. It's like, she keeps asking for your social security number. And for you to send her money through PayPal. Maybe she's going through a rough time, dog. I don't know. You ever thought of that? You ever thought about sometimes beautiful people are down on their luck? Because we all know it's beautiful people who never get anything for free. You know? But yeah, you see it. You see it on them, right? Because they were talking to each other so wild. I love you. They propose before they're allowed to see each other. You know what I mean? They propose in the pods. You propose to this idea of a person, someone that you think that you could love for the rest of your life, right? And they are talking to each other the way our great-great-grandparents talked to. I'm talking about Civil War love letter talking to each other. You know those old Civil War letters? You ever read some of them? Oh, it's astounding. Dear Jebediah. I miss you terribly. And I can't wait to once again feel the brush of your long beard upon my face. I hope and pray for the day that I see you on the horizon and know that you are home for good. Love, Magnolia. Like, they used to be named after flowers back then for no reason. There's a bunch of roses and magnolias and tulips and stuff. And sometimes, you know, I've read some of these letters and I've watched documentaries about, you know, people that they've honed in on that we know the most about and everything. Sometimes those letters got nasty. Every once in a while, those letters... My dearest Magnolia. This war is a burden upon my soul. What keeps my fire alight is thinking of your warm embrace. I shudder to think if this letter is read by anybody but its intended. But know that your beloved keeps your handkerchief close by at all times. Your dearest Jebediah. With the long D. No, it's tough because they've said so many things to each other in these pods. They seem to mean them, right? Because that's the other thing you can suss out a little bit more. When you're not swayed by someone's looks, what they just say, what does that mean? And you can really talk the thing out, whatever it is, right? And they see each other, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this engagement falls apart right after, soon after. Sometimes they, say no. I can't marry you, right? Watching this season, I don't know. Everything I'm saying applies to the entirety of the idea. So it's not about any one person or group or season. It's just like that idea, like what happens if we get out of our own way, But it's also hard because this is my thing about that show, is that by and large, every season of it I've seen, they are picking pretty good-looking people. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're picking people who these are gorgeous people, right? They have yet to pick someone that I'm really like, Is nobody gonna tell them? Do you know what I mean? This is where I lose you. Okay. I just want there to be like one season, because what happens is, and they've like done whole survey studies, they've interviewed people who've studied relationships, have talked about this stuff for a very long time, right? I'm not just saying, oh, trust me, it's science. I'm saying, like, you can look it up for yourself. When it comes to like long-term relationships, right? Relationships that are supposed to last to the end of your life, let's say you get married in your 30s, right? That they found that like women are, by and large, better partners to have, right? And it's because of the things that nurture a relationship are the things that women are usually the ones doing, right? Not saying there aren't great boyfriends and husbands out there. I'm just saying that, like, usually what upholds and keeps a relationship going is like some of the action, some of the planning, some of the thinking of the women in those relationships, okay? And this isn't to paint anyone as an angel either. I know relationships end for all sorts of reasons. It's just that, like, we all have our preferences, right? Every single one of us. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, We all have our you might want the person that you end up with, no matter who you date, no matter who you love, to at least have like a head. That would be nice. A head would be nice. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to. You would assume they have a head. And then as long as they have a head, there might be things that you like about the face on that head. And then you pick and you pick and you pick and you find the people, whatever. But just sometimes, whenever people are in a noble pursuit, how they get there is not always questioned because the pursuit is noble, right? And so because so many people are trying to find their forever person, the ways in which that they are shallow sometimes don't get addressed as much because the overall pursuit is noble, right? It's much easier to come down on someone who's just like hardcore participating in like hookup culture for being shallow because we can just cast away the whole idea as trashy, right? But when someone's looking for like long-term love and they're being shallow, it's just kind of harder to call them out because they're looking for their forever person anyway, right? So it's just one season of Love is Blind. I would just love if they do the regular show. You can even pick all the good-looking people that you want. That's fine. Just pick all good-looking people. And I want good dudes, by the way. Real good dudes. Like good dudes where you do the research. He volunteers and he donates to the charities and he taking care of somebody sick. Really good dudes, right? But then when they do the reveal, right? And the doors open and they're standing across from each other, I just want every single one, every one of those dudes to be short. That would be great. That would be fire. That would be so good. And I don't mean short as in like 5'8". I don't mean regular height, but calling them short because your friends are tall. I'm talking about cartoonishly short. I want these dudes, I'm talking about the 4'11s of the world. I want these dudes to be so excited and so little that when they're running to their bride, they really got to do that step. You know what I'm talking about? You know when somebody real short, they need the extra steps, and so and she just, And they meet up in the middle. And they propose before they get to see each other. Sometimes they propose again as soon as they meet each other, right? You know, they propose, and since the beginning of the show, she's been saying, I just want to find love. Okay. Found him. He go to propose. He ain't got a kneel. No, just really test it. See if his love is blind.
When I